General opinion about the Peugeot 5008. The Peugeot 5008 is undoubtedly one of the best cars of its kind. The main thing is that it is not only practical and versatile enough to rival any rival, but also comfortable, fun and stylish to drive, as well as luxurious and safe. Is the package? It actually has a more refined and incredibly attractive interior than many of its competitors. FK Tech here. If you look at the Peugeot 5008, it might make sense that blessings come to those who wait. As you can see, it took Peugeot a while to get the car right, but with our 2022 Peugeot 5008 review, you'll see why it was worth the wait. The first generation car was good in terms of ride comfort, but it had some major flaws. The track was a bit difficult and the quality dropped a bit in places, but most importantly it looked awful. In the form of an MPV that Peugeot tried to dress up with some SUV-like touches, the result was awkward and disappointing. It was definitely appetite because it still did well on the sales side, but it could have been a lot more. Fortunately, Peugeot learned the lessons of the latest 5008 and the result is undoubtedly one of the best cars of its kind. The Peugeot 5008 is an SUV without schizophrenic styling and is one of the best cars in its class thanks to its bold and bright features. But if you really want to shine, all you have to do is open the door and look inside. The interior of the Peugeot 5008 is different from other vehicles in its class. Cutting-edge design, beautiful materials and thoughtful, elegant finishes make it look more like an expensive SUV, such as an Audi or Mercedes, than a mundane Skoda or Seat. The Peugeot 5008 also delivered another key element for a 7-seater SUV, comfort. As one of the most spacious vehicles of its kind, with one of 7 seats, the Peugeot 5008 outperforms many of its rivals when faced with the task of transporting 7 adults. Versatile trunk with 7 individual seats that can be folded and reversed for versatility and agility. Yes, the top models have 1 or 2 necessities, but most variants include most of what is needed for a comfortable family life. And when it comes to comfort, the ride that was flimsy and unstable in the first generation cars is much more forgiving in the latest Peugeot 5008. The Peugeot 5008 is now one of the most comfortable cars in its class and the most important thing in a car designed to transport many people. At the same time, the handling is stable and reliable, and even the entry-level petrol and diesel engines offer impressive power, excellent economy, and very good refinement. In fact, the Peugeot 5008 is not perfect. The infotainment system can be confusing and frustrating to use even after getting used to its foibles, and opting for the panoramic sunroof, standard on the top 2 models, optional on most models, completely ruins the get. Other than that, there's nothing to complain about, which makes the Peugeot 5008 an impressive all-rounder and one of the most desirable cars in its class. Worth everyone's attention, the Peugeot 5008 is one of our favorite SUVs. Comfort and design, the interior of the Peugeot 5008. You might think there's nothing wrong with the old way of setting the driving position, but that hasn't stopped Peugeot from completely reinventing it. Almost every other car manufacturer requires you to view the instruments through the steering wheel, but on the Peugeot 5008 you can see the instruments through the compact steering wheel. Are you doing better? No, honestly. But at least on the Peugeot 5008 it works. After a while behind the wheel, you start to feel comfortable. On many other Peugeot models that take the same approach, the seating position is always awkward and uncomfortable. The seats on the Peugeot 5008 are also very supportive and have plenty of adjustments to keep you comfortable, but you'll have to go for the more expensive GT trim to get those power adjustments. But the tools I mentioned are great. All variants use a 12.3-inch screen instead of a regular dial and can be configured in several ways to prioritize different bits of information. It looks great and is always easy to understand. The dashboard layout is also very simple, with a few switches on the center console and a few more on the steering wheel. It's clearly laid out and easy to use, but you might want more. That's because every time you want to change the cabin temperature, you have to look through the junk infotainment system to get air conditioning. MPG and fuel. How much does a Peugeot 5008 cost to drive? High-mileage drivers will want one of the diesels, and the economy will be great for the size of the vehicle. Whether the 1.5-liter is mated to a manual or automatic transmission, official figures are around 58 miles per gallon WLTP, while the 2.0-liter is equivalent to 47 miles per gallon. Low-mileage drivers will probably be more interested in the petrol, especially the 1.2, and you'll get around 46 miles per gallon regardless of gearbox. And the 1.6-liter petrol gets less than 40 miles per gallon. While these newer WLTP numbers are designed to better represent real-world conditions than the older NEDC numbers, they are still lab-tested numbers and should still be taken with a grain of salt. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.
Playing with fire, everything turned to dust. When we aimed to fly higher, we got lost and dragged each other down. We kept running from the shadows in the night, realizing it was not worth the fight. Moving on alone was what felt right, 'cause we were never meant to be. Feels good, a new beginning. We are free at last, living life just like we're supposed to. Goodbye to the past.